Again, welcome to research method in computer science, specifically human-computer interaction. So this lecture is about the introduction to human-computer interaction research. First, we will start with a brief history of human-computer interaction, HCI. In 1980, the first book on HCI was published, which was known as software psychology. And by 1982, the first conference on HCI, which was later became the CHI conference. Other similar work also was going on in the late 1970s, but often known as office automation or human factors. Again, human-computer interaction is developing a system that will interact with computers. A very simple example would be the mouse. So in 1968, the computer mouse was again publicly known. Then computers were becoming smaller and being used in homes, schools, workplaces, and by non-technical people. This was somewhere around 1980s when our first microcomputers, desktop computers again, started to be surfaced. And the first desktop computers was done by Apple Computer Company. So next is, what is contribution of the research? Again, this course is about human-computer interaction research methods, or in general, computer science research method. So the first thing we want to know is that what is a contribution of a research? A contribution of the research will be if we are adding a new knowledge to a knowledge that we already know. So for example, a graduate project should make a research contribution, which means it should contribute towards the advancement of human knowledge by adding something new. So again, in human-computer interaction, we have some few equipments or devices that can be used that can interact between computers and human. Now, we may come up with a new device or develop a new system which will be more user-friendly or more comfortable than previous device. And this will be a contribution to the field. So a contribution of a research means we are adding a new knowledge to already known knowledge in that particular field. So their own experience may suggest new problems separate from any previous research, but this is extremely rare and may well be a significant contribution in itself. So type of HCI research contributions, we have the empirical contributions, antifact contributions, methodological contributions, theoretical contributions, dataset contributions, survey contributions, opinion contributions, and also most published research in is empirical and also antifact. And we will go through each of these 10. So first we start with the empirical contribution. We said that empirical contribution will include such things as testing a theoretical linkage between two constructs that has not previously been tested. So examine the effect of a potential moderator variable on the nature of the relationship between two constructs. Then antifact contribution is a new knowledge is embedded in or manifested by antifacts, and the supporting materials that describe them will be again antifact contributions. Then we also have methodological contributions, which will be related to the appropriateness of applying theoretical concepts and theories developed in other contexts. So the successful use of these theories in a study contributes toward providing examples of interpretation of case study from a business organization. So again, methodological contribution will always relate to the appropriateness of applying some method or theoretical concept, and also theory developed in other contexts. Theoretical contribution is a process which again is based on the theory development and also advancement in existing theory with some logics and facts. So this studies also suggested how theoretical concepts can be practically implemented in a society and also organizations to enhance organizational performance and validate the theory. We also have the dataset contribution, which provide a new and also a useful corpus, often accompanied by analysis of its characteristics for the benefit of research community. So example would be a benchmark test may accompany a data set to standardize comparisons. So a data set, again, enable evaluation of a shared repositories by new algorithms, systems, or again, methods. A survey contribution, again, are very useful in describing the characteristics of a large population. So no other research method can provide this broad capability. And most of the time, again, when we are conducting a research, we use sample instead of a large population. So this again shows a more accurate sample to gather targeted result in which to draw conclusion. And this conclusion again will be applied to the population to characterize the population. So surveys allow researchers to collect a large amount of data in a very short period of time. And also surveys can be created quickly and also administered easily. Surveys can be used to collect information on a broad range of things, including personal facts, attitudes, past behavior, etc. So changes in topics of HCI research over time. Somewhere in 1980s, we have office automation software, which is the basic interaction research or basic graphical user interfaces going. Then by 1990s, we have advanced goings, graphical user interfaces, also use CD methods, internet, web, computer-mediated communication. We have touch screen, sensors. We can use sensors to again interact with computers. This is normally using games. By 2000, the user-generated content, user diversity, mobile computing, and multimedia became common. Then by 2010s, we have a collaboration system where we may have two people or two locations, different sites all together. They can, again, through a software system, collaborate and either work together or play together. We also have a mobile embedded computing system. We also have the crowdsourcing, emotional and persuasive computing. This regard to robotic interaction with robot systems. Also, we have the natural user interfaces, sustainability, big data, and accessibility. So changes in HCI research methods over time is a new tools or tools where the costs have dropped dramatically. Example can be the high tracking, sensors, drones, facial EMG, EEG, mechanical talks. And new approaches now will be social networking using big data analysis concept, crowdsourcing, personal health tracking, citation analysis, and test passing. So how HCI research differ from other fields? Yeah, we know, again, many disciplines collect national data set using established methodological controls. Example will be national data on income or employment, family. We also have a statistics Canada or US Census Bureau, Eurostat. Again, most of these disciplines use a data, collect a national data set to establish a concept or methodology. So large sets are publicly available, which researchers can analyze. Typically, HCI researchers must collect their own data instead of using an existing data. This will lead to a smaller size data set or a combination of automated data collections. Example would be a big data and or test pattern and smaller, more detailed studies. Other disciplines such as sociology, medicine often track data that's based on period of time, longitudinal data over decades. Then HCI researchers rarely collect a data that's for a period of time. Technological change may make it hard to again compare devices over time. Because again, HCI is another emerging field and very dynamic field. So collecting longitudinal data, that's a data within some long period of time, would not be a benefit for HCI. But other data points such as time usage, communication patterns, or psychological well-being are appropriate for longitudinal study. Then the lack of longitudinal data limits the impact of HCI research on other fields and also populations. Now, how HCI research differ from other fields? As again, majority of HCI research, we must have representative participants, not college students. So representative in terms of age group, criteria of age, or educational experience, technical experience, domain knowledge, and job experience. The main reason again that we know HCI is more technical involved, having the participants that have a knowledge about the technology and also by age. Maybe we may try to develop a system that will interact with kids to play a game. So this will be based on age. A complex system maybe will be based on technical experience of the participants, etc. So we should understand the difference in methods and measurement. HCI research requires both rigorous methods and relevance. Also, there has been historical figures on improving the quality of life. Now, depending on the disciplinary roots of our collaborators, they may have different expectations for which methods and metrics are most appropriate. And the earliest metrics were based on, again, human factors and psychological research. A good example would be task and time performance. Now, difference between micro HCI and macro HCI research is that a micro will be something that's very small. So a micro HCI research will be a task performance, time performance, error rate, time to learn, retention over time, user satisfaction, and frequently can be studied in a lab setting. But micro HCI research will be based on motivation, collaboration, because again, this is a large research. So a collaboration, social participants, trust, empathy, and other societal level impacts. This often cannot be studied in a lab setting because it's a large research platform. So the nature of interdisciplinary research in HCI, is HCI interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary or its own discipline? So yeah, we said that there are often challenges where HCI research gets evaluated through a single discipline lens. For example, journals versus conference proceedings, We have a single author publication versus multi-author publication, openness and transparency of research versus secrecy. Does reflective research about a field count as a research? Also, is grant money considered a good or bad? Which stage of a research process must be perfect? Now, who is the audience for our research? So, most HCI researchers, without realizing it, target their own research to other researchers. They publish their research in outlets primarily read by other researchers, not practitioners. Also, do not take steps to inform other target audiences or other disciplines about their research. Citation analysis and metrics such as H-index measure the impact on other researchers. Now, targeting your research to developers is a goal, is to influence actual system and interface design. So working in the corporate or industrial research labs or university partnering with a company and working on tech transfer. Also, there may be issues about secrecy, disclosure, and intellectual property ownership. Also, types of controls may differ so that research is focused on a specific configuration that a company is interested in. Must publish and also present in practitioner-friendly venues. Also, targeting research to policymakers. So policymakers also need to have a data from HCI community to inform their decision related to laws, regulations, legal cases, and treaties. So HCI again committee does not yet have an established outreach to public policy communities. Individual HCI researchers are encouraged to establish long-term relationship with policymakers, meet with policymakers face-to-face, be specific about relevant laws and number of people impacted, also understand the relevant policy timeliness and deadlines, provide appropriate summary of research. We should not just send an academic paper. Understanding one research project in the context of related research. So we know there's no perfection data collection method or effort. All have their flaws. One data collection effort does not lead to a definitive answer. Multiple teams should examine same research questions over time using different methods. Replication is very important. So it's an important part of validating our research, although it is rare in HCI. So research life cycle for one project, we can start with the designing the research, then running the data collection, then reporting the research. So this approach focuses on one specific research project with the assumption that there's a base of existing research literature on the topic with an understanding of challenges and biases present. So a research life cycle for a new area of research, if there's no previous research exists on the topic area, then we should start with exploratory research approach. Again, in this case, there's no any background literature review. It's a new research. So exploratory data or exploratory research approach makes us to understand our research question and also the phenomena we are studying. So surveys, interviews, focus group, ethnographic are appropriate for exploratory research. And also it's very hard to start structural research in a new research area because you often don't know what data needs to be collected. You don't know what structure to put in place, what controls you need. You often don't know what biases might be present. So we should always start with exploratory approach and also with observation before doing intervention or experiment. Also, the control laboratory studies versus in the wide field studies. So either type of research can come first, either laboratory studies or fields, but both types of research should be done if possible. Findings may differ inside the lab and also outside. Field studies may be better for mobile device research, and also field studies help understand the context of users and their environment, because again, field study means we are going to the user's environment and we test the system in the environment. So outside noise and distraction, as well as network latencies, will be noticed. And also field studies may allow for more diverse users to participate. Informed consent may also be harder in field settings. So inherent trade-offs in HCI. Here we say that HCI is not about optimization. It's a social technical system. Rarely can be reduced to 2 or 3 measurements. Great HCI research helps us better understand all of the factors present in social technical system. Also, we seek better solutions rather than optimal ones. And there are usually multiple stakeholders with different goals. Example can be a trade-off between greatly improved interfaces and consistent interfaces. Example would be the environment impact of a continuous upgrade in hardware. So this will be again the conclusion of our lectures. And again, these lectures focus on the basic concept of HCI research, different method. In our next lectures, we will break it into individual research type. We start with experimental, we will go to observational and different techniques. So again, wish everybody the best. Thank you.